Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games. Look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. I'll go over today's news and notes. I'm going to do an activity, NBA trade deadline predictions, and my best bet of the day. College basketball is where we'll begin today. We'll go over last night's busy window. And we'll look ahead to a very, very much busier window for tonight. Florida over Missouri, 66-65. Abilene Christian over Chicago State, 77-73. Longwood over UNC Asheville, 56-48. Radford over Charleston Southern, 64-52. Number 4, Purdue over Minnesota, 88-73. Number 5, Kentucky over Vanderbilt, 77-70. Number 21, Xavier over Butler, 68-66. Lafayette over American, 72-62. Loyola, Maryland over Army, 61-57. Colgate over Bucknell, 83-69. Temple over East Carolina, 71-63. Lehigh over Navy, 63-62. SC Upstate over Hampton, 85-78. Gardner-Webb over High Point, 65-57. Presbyterian over Campbell, 64-58. Notre Dame over Miami, 68-64. Wake over Pitt, 91-75. Clemson over Florida State, 75-69. Vermont over NJIT, 90-67. UMass Lowell over Maine, 62-50. UMBC over Albany, 55-53. New Hampshire over Hartford, 70-64. Binghamton over Stony Brook, 77-61. Drake over Indiana State, 85-67. George Washington over LaSalle, 89-87. St. Louis over George Mason, 92-90 in double overtime. Fordham over Rhode Island, 61-55. West Carolina over East Tennessee State, 87-84. VMI over UNC Greensboro, 76-65. Furman over the Citadel, 102-83. Arkansas over Georgia, 99-73. Coppin State over Delaware State, 59-57. Number 6, Houston over Tulane, 73-62. Texas Rio Grande over Lamar, 93-79. Northern Iowa over Bradley, 78-65. Loyola Chicago over Illinois State, 78-64. Sanford over Chattanooga, 80-72. Number 18, Illinois over number 11, Wisconsin, 80-67. Syracuse over NC State, 89-82. Virginia Tech over Georgia Tech, 81-66. Kansas State over Oklahoma State, 71-68. Missouri State over Southern Illinois, 69-54. Dayton over VCU, 82-52. And number 24, Marquette over Villanova, number 12, Villanova, 83-73. Marquette's just been on an absolute roll lately. All right, today's game's busy slate. I didn't do totals today, just did sides. 1:30, Liberty at Bellarmine. My line is Liberty 2. And it is 2 and 132.5. I'll take the over. 2 o'clock, Eastern Michigan, Ohio. My projection is Ohio by 23.25, and it's 16. And 140. I'm going to lay the 16 with Ohio. Tennessee Tech and Morehead State. My projection's Morehead by 20.25, and it's 11.5 and 138.5. I'll lay the points. $5 o'clock, Kennesaw State and Eastern Kentucky. My projection is Eastern Kentucky by 12.5, and it's 4.5 and 151.5. I'll lay the points. Southeast Missouri State and Tennessee Martin at 5:30. My projection is Southeast Missouri State by 7. And it's Tennessee Martin by 1.5, total 153.5. Wrong team's favorite, giving Missouri State plus the 1.5 and minus 108 straight up. Kennesaw State and Eastern Kentucky we just did. St. John's, Georgetown, 6 o'clock, Fox Sports 1. My projection is St. John's by 7.5. It's 5 and 156.5. I'll lay the 5 at St. John's. CBS Sports Network, Drexel, Delaware. My projection is Delaware by 10. It's 4.5 and 144. I'm laying the points. Western Michigan and Central Michigan at 7 o'clock. My projection is Central by 3.75. And it's 2.5 and 141.5 over. South Florida, UCF. My projection is UCF by 14. It's 11.5 and 131. Laying the points. Southern Miss and FIU. My projection is FIU by 9.5. And 7.5 and 135.5. I'm laying the points. Louisiana Tech and FAU. My projection is Tech by 9. And it's 2.5 and 141.5. I laid the 2.5. Western Kentucky and Charlotte. My projection is Charlotte by 0.5. And it is Western Kentucky by 2, total 142. I'm taking Charlotte plus the 2 and plus 108 to win outright. Bryant and St. Fran, PA. My projection is Bryant by 13. And it's 1.5 and 149.5. I'm laying the 1.5 of Bryant. That is so narrow of a line. Fairleigh Dickinson and St. Fran, Brooklyn. My projection is St. Fran, Brooklyn by 3.5. And the line is St. Fran by 6, total 143.5. I'll take Dickinson plus the points. Merrimack and Mount St. Mary's. My projection is Mount St. Mary's by 8.5. And let's see here. This line is 6.5 and 117.5. I'm going to lay the 6.5 at Mount St. Mary's. Sacred Heart and LIU. My projection's LIU by 7. 5.5 and 149.5. I'll take the over. Wagner and Central Con. My projection is Wagner 22.5. And it's 14.5 and 133.5. I'll lay the points. North Carolina A&T and Winthrop. On ESPNU, by the way, my projection for this game is Winthrop by 12. And Winthrop is an 8.5 point favorite. Total's 147.5. I'll lay the points. Youngstown State and IUPUI. My projection is Youngstown by 13. 13.5 and 122.5. I'll take the over. Oakland and Northern Kentucky. My projection is Northern Kentucky by 1.5. And it's Oakland by 3.5, total 139.5. Taking Northern Kentucky plus the points and plus 134 to win outright. Detroit and Wright State. My projection is Wright by 11, and it's 3.5 and 148.5. I'm playing the points of Wright State. South Alabama and Georgia Southern. My projection for this game is South Alabama by 10. And it's 3.5 and 134.5. I'm laying the points with South Alabama. Troy and Georgia State. My projection for this game is State by 12.5. And it's 6.5 and 136.5. I'm laying the points. Towson Hofstra. My projection is Hofstra by 4.25, and it's 2.5 and 143.5. I'll take the under. UNC Wilmington and Elon. My projection is Wilmington by 3.25, and it's 1.5 and 135.5. I'm laying. Actually, no, I'm not going to lay the points. It's not low enough for me to bet it. If it was 1, I'd bet it. Obviously, a pick'em, I'd bet it. But I'm going to go with the over. James Madison Northeastern. My projection is James Madison by 1.5. And Northeastern's a 1.5 point favorite. Total 144.5. I think the wrong team's favorite. Gave me James Madison plus 1.5 and plus 108 to win outright. Charleston and William & Mary, the last of the 7 o'clock games. My projection is Charleston by 7.75. And this line comes out to be 7.5 and 154.5. I'll take the under. That's a high total. 7:30 Murray State and Austin Peay. My projection is Murray State by 11.75. And it's 13.5 and 137.5. Not high enough for me to bet on Austin Peay. I'll take the over. Dixie State and Sam Houston. My projection is Sam Houston by 11.5. 8.5 and 143.5. I'll lay the points. Utah Valley and Stephen F. Austin. My projection is Stephen F. Austin by 4.5. And it's 3.5 and 135.5. I'll take the over. North Florida and Jacksonville State. For some reason, I don't see that game in the itinerary. Oh, there it is. It's an 8:30 game. My projection for this game is Jacksonville State by 17.5. And this is 13.5 and 136.5. I'll lay the points. Louisiana and Little Rock. My projection for this game is Louisiana by 6. I'm sorry, 7.5. And it is 6.5 and 140.5. I'll take the over. Biggest game of the evening. 8 o'clock, ESPN, number 3 UCLA, number 7 Arizona. Should be Dave Pasch and Bill Walton on the call. Rematch from a game from a couple weeks ago, which UCLA won at home over Arizona. Now Arizona's home, and it's a pick'em projection. And it's Arizona by 7, total 147. I think UCLA in the 7 again. I don't know if they'll win outright, but I think it's going to be a game that's a lot closer. Iowa and Ohio State got postponed due to inclement weather. UTSA Rice. My projection's Rice by 11. And it's 10.5 and 145.5. I'll take the over. Marshall Old Dominion on CBS Sports Network. My projection's Old Dominion by 1.5. And it's 4.5 and 142.5. I'll take a Marshall plus 4.5. Northwestern State Houston Baptist. My projection is Northwestern State by 4, and it's Houston Baptist by 1.5. Total 148.5. Taking Northwestern State plus the 1.5 and plus 102 to win outright. Robert Morris and UIC. My projection is UIC by 9. And it's 5.5 and 144.5. I'm laying the points. UL Monroe and Arkansas State. My projection for this game is Arkansas State by 17.5. And it's 7.5 and 144.5. I'll lay the points. Coastal Carolina and Texas Arlington got canceled. I guess COVID related. App State and Texas State. My projection for this game is Texas State by 2.5. It's 4.5 and 125.5. I'll take App State in the points. St. Thomas, Minnesota and UMKC. My projection, UMKC 12. Is 5.5 and 141.5. I'll lay the points. Western Illinois and Oral Roberts. My projection is Oral by 7.5. And it's 6.5 and 162.5. Under. Omaha and North Dakota State. My projection for this game is North Dakota State by a whopping 20.5. And it's 14.5 and 149.5. I'll lay the points. 10 for North Dakota. My projection is North Dakota by 2. And it's 10 for 1.5, total 142.5. I'm taking North Dakota plus the 1.5 and plus 110 to win outright. 8:15 Stetson Lipscomb. My projection is Lipscomb by 6. And it's 5.5 and 144.5. I'll take the over. 8:30, Nichols and Incarnate Word. My projection for this game is Nichols by 19.5, and it's 8.5 and 144.5. I'll lay the points. Belmont and Tennessee State. My projection is Belmont by 10. And it's 15.5 and 147.5. And take a Tennessee State plus the points. Eastern Illinois and SIU Edwardsville. My projection for this game is Edwardsville by 6 7/4. Or, I'm sorry, 6 3/4. What was that? 11.5 and 127.5. I'm taking Eastern in the points. New Orleans and A&M Corpus Christi. My projection is New Orleans by 3. And it's Corpus Christi 4.5 total, 150.5. I'm taking New Orleans plus the points and plus 180 to win. Southeast Louisiana and McNeese. My projection is Southeast Louisiana by 4.5. And it's McNeese by 1.5 total, 151.5. I'm taking Southeast Louisiana plus the 1.5 and plus 100 to win outright. 8:45, Florida Gulf Coast and Central Arkansas. My projection is Gulf Coast by 9. And it's 5.5 and 158.5. I'm laying the 5.5. 9 o'clock, ESPN 2, number 2, Gonzaga San Diego. My projection is Gonzaga by 22.5. And it's 22 and 150.5. I'll take the over. San Jose State and Utah State. My projection for this game is Utah State by 16 3/4. And let's see here. 20.5 and 137.5. I'll take San Jose State plus the points. Great game in Mountain West tonight. Boise State, Wyoming. My projection is Boise by 1.5. And it's Wyoming by 1, total 129.5. I'm taking Boise plus the 1 and minus 102 to win outright. ESPNU, Oregon State, Utah. My projection is Oregon State by 1/4, and it's Utah by 6.5, total 140. Give me Oregon State plus the 6.5 and plus 220 outright. Utah's been bad lately. Wazoo, Stanford on the Pac-12 Network. My projection is Stanford by 2 2/4. And it's Wazoo by 3.5, total 132.5. And taking Stanford plus 3.5 and plus 136 to win outright. Montana and Weber State. My projection is Weber by 7.5. And 6.5 and 144.5. I'll take the over. Idaho and Southern Utah. My projection is Southern Utah by a whopping 22. And it's 14.5 and 154.5. I'll lay the points. Seattle, Grand Canyon. My projection is Grand Canyon by 7. And it's 5.5 and 137.5. I'll take the over. Cal Baptist and New Mexico State. My projection is New Mexico State by 19. And it's 12.5 and 142.5. I'll lay the points. Loyola Marymount and Santa Clara. My projection is Santa Clara by 4.5. And it's 9.5 and 146.5. I'm taking Marymount plus the points. Jacksonville and North Alabama. My projection is Jacksonville by 1/2. And it's 1.5 and 124.5. I'll take the over. 10 o'clock, Pepperdine Pacific. My projection is Pacific by 1 3/4. And it's 3.5 and 136.5. Not high enough for me to bet on Pepperdine. I'll take the over. Fox Sports 1, Oregon, Colorado. My projection is Oregon by 3 3/4. And it's 2.5 and 138.5. I'll take the over. Cal State, Bakersfield, and Long Beach State. My projection is Long Beach by 1/2. And it's 5.5 and 134.5. I'm taking Bakersfield plus the 5.5. With a chance to win outright. UC Irvine and UC Santa Barbara. My projection is Barbara by 1. And it's Irvine by 1, total 127.5. I'll take Barbara plus the 1 and minus 108 to win outright. Cal Poly and Cal State Fullerton. My projection is Fullerton by a whopping 13. And it's 12.5 and 130.5. I'll take the over. UC San Diego and Cal State Northridge. My projection is Northridge by 1. And it's San Diego by 3.5. Total 134.5. I'm taking Northridge plus the 3.5 and plus 158 to win outright. Northern Arizona and Sacramento State. My projection is Sacramento State by 4.5. And it's 2.5 and 133.5. I'll lay the points. CBS Sports Network, San Francisco, BYU. My projection is BYU by 10. And it's 1.5 and 143.5. I'll lay the 1.5 of BYU. 11 o'clock, ESPN2, number 19, USC at Arizona State. My projection is USC by 11.25. By the way, this might be the Phil Walt and Dave Pasch game, and then maybe Dan Schulman gets that great game. That's what I think's going to happen. I think you'll see Dan Schulman and Jay Billis on that great UCLA-Arizona game. And then you'll see Pasch and Walton on this game. My projection is USC by 11.25. And it's 6.5 and 135.5. I'm laying the points at USC. Washington, Cal on Pac-12 Network. My projection is Washington by 1.75. It's Cal by 2, total 132.5. I take Washington plus the 2 and plus 108 outright. Hawaii and UC Riverside. My projection is Hawaii by 1, and it's Riverside by 2.5, total 129.5. I'm taking Hawaii plus the 2.5 and plus 128 outright. And last but not least, St. Mary's in Portland. My projection is St. Mary's by a whopping 20.5. It's 13.5 and 131.5. I'll lay the 13.5 with St. Mary's. So that was a lot of college basketball to get through. All right, now we'll do NBA. We will recap the games from last night and look ahead to the games for tonight. Magic over the Pacers, 119-118. Wizards over the Sixers, 106-103. Celtics over the Hornets, 113-107. Grizz over the Knicks, 120-108. Rockets over the Cavs, 115-104. Thunder over the Mavs, 120-114 in overtime. Jazz over the Nuggets, 108-104. Kings over the Nets, 112-101. And the Lakers over the Trailblazers, 99-94. 6 games tonight. 7 o'clock, you have the Timberwolves and the Pistons. My projections for this game, Minnesota by 6, total 218.3. Meanwhile, it is 7 and 228. I'll take the under. 7:30 TNT, Suns Hawks, great game. My projection is Suns by 6, total 220.4. Meanwhile, it's 5 and 224 under. Bulls Raptors, makeup game from December 16th. My projection is Raptors 3.5, total 217.3. Meanwhile, it's 3 and 223.5 under. 8:30 Heat Spurs, makeup game from December 29th. My projection is Heat 9.5, total 218.35. Meanwhile, it is 4.5 and 219.5. I'll lay the points with Miami. 10 o'clock, Kings Warriors. My projection is Golden State by 13.25, total 218.5. Meanwhile, it's 13.5 and 223.5. I'll take the under. And last but not least, 10 o'clock, TNT Lakers Clippers. My projection is the Clippers by 1.25, total 217.95. Meanwhile, it's 3.5 and 218. The line's actually big enough for me to bet on the Lakers plus the 3.5. No, I do not think they'll win outright because LeBron's not playing, but Paul George isn't playing either, so maybe the Lakers will win this game. I actually do think the Lakers are going to win this game because Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook might be the best players on the court in this game. So give me the Lakers plus the 3.5 and plus 138 to win the game outright. All right, now we'll move on to the NHL. We'll recap the games from last night, and we'll look ahead to the games for tonight. Kraken over the Islanders, 3-0. Oilers over the Capitals, 5-3. Kings over the Red Wings, 5-3. Wild over the Blackhawks, 5-0. And the Flames over the Coyotes, 4-2. And there are no games tonight because of the All-Star break. I completely forgot about that. So, in terms of the All-Star game, we have the semifinals on Saturday for the All-Star games and then the final following it. So it's the same format as previous years except on a different network. And then the games resume on Monday. And there's going to be, obviously, games that are rescheduled because of the Olympics not happening and the COVID postponements going in those spots. So we're going to have some hockey to talk about come Monday. All right, now we'll move on to golf. We have a new tournament that is about to begin, which is the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro Am. From Pebble Beach Golf Links out in California. I'll go over tee times now, and then I'll make a pick. 11:30 Noble tee times. J.J. Spawn, Matthew Neesmith, Patrick Rogers, Sam Piercy, Kevin Kisner, Vincent Taylor, Adam Hadwin. 11:41 Nate Lashley, DJ Trahan, Adam Landry, Kyle Stanley, Lucas Donald, Michael Thompson, Lucas Glover, Patrick Cantlay. 11:52 Cam Triangle, Maverick McNeely. 12:03 nobody really of note. 12:14 Matt Fitzpatrick, Adam Putnam, Pat Perez, Brock Stewart, Bo Van Pelt, Chris Kirk, Nate Watney, Wyndham Clark, Doc Redman. 12:25 Joel Dahman, Seamus Power, Lucas Griffin, Dylan McCarthy, Brant Snecker, Troy Merritt, Jason Day. 12:36 Taylor Hogue, Bryce Garnett, Brian Harmon, Stuart Sink, Charles Schwartzel, Ryan Palmer, Jordan Spieth, Brandon Gay. 12:47 Mariano Giglick, Max McGreevy, Kevin Strillman. 12:58 Mito Pereira and Christian Ziedenhout. 109 Camilo Vegas, Cam Percy, Ryan Moore. 120 Richie Wierenski, Tyler Duncan, Cam Champ, Justin Rose, Ches Ravi, Matt Jones, Brendan Todd, Russell Knox, Dylan Fratelli. 131 Max Hubbard, Scott Stallings, Mackenzie Hughes. And 142 you got Lucas Hodges, Adam Novak, Vincent Whaley, Tyson McCumber, and Jason Brumlett. All right, in terms of a pick here, this is somebody that I think is just due to come through. He's had some good moments in the past. And I think that this is just a fun long shot pick. To win the tournament. But it's too big of a long shot. I don't know if I want to go there now. But I'm going to go with Justin Rose, 24-1. It's still a long shot, but the long shot I was eyeing was Doc Redman at 150-1. But my pick is going to be Justin Rose, 24-1, to win the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro Am tournament. All right, now I'm going to do news and notes for today. National Signing Day was yesterday. And the big story from this was that the kid that Brian Kelly danced for committed to Alabama, which was great for Alabama, not for LSU. And Nick Saban says, I like to dance too. But that is so funny that Alabama ended up getting that player. But LSU did get a 5-star linebacker, Harold Perkins, after decommitting from Texas A&M. And A&M got a 5-star defensive lineman in what is a 2022 number 1 recruiting class, Shamar Stewart. So that's a big get for Jimbo, who also slams the payment rumors as he went off on the rumors that the program paid 2022 recruits large NIL deals. It's insulting to the kids, he says. And then they landed a 4-star safety, Jacoby Matthews, too. And Steve Sarkisian got a good get, a 5-star offensive lineman, number 9 overall recruit, Devin Campbell. And a 4-star running back, Jordan James, flipped from Georgia to Oregon. So he follows Dan Lenning to Oregon. The other big story, we touched on it a little bit yesterday, was the Brian Flores lawsuit against the NFL. Flores came on Get Up. And I don't know if he did CBS or not. But it's just unfortunate with the situation and what it could do to Brian Flores because he's suing the NFL. And Stephen Ross, the Dolphins owner, came out and says the truth must be known, as he says that Brian Flores' allegations are false, malicious, and defamatory, and Ross says he'll defend his integrity. And obviously, in the lawsuit, Flores said that Ross would pay him $100,000 for every loss in the 2019 season in which they were trying to tank. So that's just unfortunate. And this is going to be a while for the truth to come out. Tom Brady thanked Bill Belichick in after Belichick's goodbye salute. And Brady said, greatest coach in NFL history, after Belichick calls Tom Brady the best player in NFL history in a statement. Jim Harbaugh returning to Michigan for the 2022 season despite NFL rumors. And speaking of that, the Minnesota Vikings picked the head coach. And they're set to hire Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell as their new head coach. I love this hire from Minnesota. The Sean McVay coaching tree seems to be working. Just see Zach Taylor. So I really thought that O'Connell deserved an opportunity, and I'm happy that he's landed one. I thought that Jim Harbaugh to Minnesota would have been sexy from a big name standpoint and would have been your classic let's win the presser. And ultimately, they didn't go that route. And Jim Harbaugh is right where he should be, still in Michigan. So, good on the Vikings for the nice hire, in my opinion. And Minnesota didn't even make an offer to Jim Harbaugh. Juju Smith-Schuster likely headed to free agency. As he says, he's most likely headed for free agency and wouldn't mind catching balls from Dak. Ooh. The New York Football Giants hired Laura Young as the team's first known woman hire on the coaching side. Director of Ops. That is really cool to see. I love seeing women get hired around sports as coaches and whatnot. Jets 2024 round pick Cameron Clark is retiring due to risk of paralysis from spinal cord injury last year. That's unfortunate. I'm trying to think if there's more NFL ones. Pat Narduzzi defends Kenny Pickett and says his hand size are a complete joke. The concerns, I mean, obviously, which is good for Pickett getting defense from his former coach. NCAA generated more than $1.15 billion in 2021 as revenue returns to normal after cancellation of men's basketball tournament in 2020. So that's good that they gained some of that revenue back. Alex Ovechkin in COVID-19 protocol as he tested positive for COVID, and replacing him in the All-Star game will be Tom Wilson. Jaromir Jagr joins the NHL and TNT crew, and he joined them for that Oilers-Capitals broadcast in the studio with Gretzky and company. Bradley Beal conflicted about trade as he's not rejecting the idea of him being traded before the deadline, and the Sixers want Bradley Beal, but has held firm it won't add Tyrese Maxey or Matthias Thybulle to the trade package. The Pacers are signing Lance Stevenson for the rest of the season, so that's pretty cool. Lance back in Indy. Hall of Fame, two-time Coach of the Year, Bill Fitch passes away at the age of 89. Thoughts and prayers to his and his family and his former teammates. Dave Yeager back for the 76ers after 2 months of cancer treatment. That is really, really good to see him back. Some huge WNBA news. Aja Wilson, 2-year deal from the Aces worth $398,000. In a big 3-team deal in the WNBA, Diamond DeShields to the Mercury, Julie Adelman and 2013 pick to the Sky, and Hartley with some picks to Indiana. I love the deal for Phoenix. They get themselves another star to go with Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner. They keep going for it and going for it year in and year out, and I applaud that. Gabby Williams traded to the Seattle Storm in exchange for Katie Lou Samuelson and the number 9 pick in 2022. I like that deal for both sides. Samuelson's a nice, young player. And Gabby Williams would be a good fit on Seattle with that team. That's a very loaded team now. The WNBA raises $75 million in fundraising as the league announces largest ever capital raise for a women's sports property to be held long-term transformation of the league. The Detroit Lions are willing to move the number 2 pick as GM Brad Holmes says he's never scared to move around when he was asked about potentially trading number 2. Some non-sports related news. CNN President Jeff Zucker resigns after failing to disclose romantic relationship with Chris Cuomo. He came out with a statement yesterday, and he is done at CNN. I'm not surprised that much because he was very close to Cuomo, and I feel like a lot of people from that company have been resigning of late. And something funny, the first round of Super Bowl commercials have dropped. So that's pretty cool, so feel free to check them out if you haven't done so already. All right, now I'm going to do my NBA trade deadline predictions. I'm going to go team by team and make predictions on what I think each team will do. I think the Atlanta Hawks will stay put. I think they already made their move with Cam Reddish. I have the Boston Celtics acquiring Miles Turner from the Indiana Pacers for Romeo Langford, Aaron Nesmith, and a 2022 first-round pick. So Boston gets a big guy, and they get rid of some young assets. And Indy takes on those young assets. The Brooklyn Nets acquire Serge Ibaka from the Clippers for Nick Claxton in 2022 second. I think that Brooklyn likes to have veterans on that team. And obviously, Ibaka has the connections with Harden and Durant from their OKC days. And Nick Claxton's going to be a free agent, so they're trading him on an expiring deal, and the Clippers get his bird rights. The Hornets acquire Kelly Olynyk from the Pistons for 2023 second. They need big men depth, so I like that pick. The Bulls acquire Marcus Morris from the Clippers for 2022 first-round pick. You're going to see the Clippers in here a lot. I like this deal for Chicago. They need like a scoring forward that can come off the bench or even start for them at times. The Cleveland Cavaliers acquire Eric Gordon from the Houston Rockets for 2022 and 2023 second-round picks. Like that deal for Cleveland. He's just so perfect for them. The Mavericks acquire Jonas Valanciunas from the Pelicans for a 2025 first-round pick and Dorian Finney-Smith. Finney-Smith on an expiring, and that pick might be pretty good down the road. And plus, Dallas needs a traditional center. The Nuggets get Trevor Ariza via a buyout from somewhere, whether it's the Lakers or another team. The Detroit Pistons trade Jeremy Grant to the Denver Nuggets for Jeff Green, Zeke Naji, and a 2022 first-round pick. They get some assets for Grant. Grant goes back to his old team. Golden State acquires Daniel Gallinari from the Atlanta Hawks for 2022 second, so the Hawks actually don't stand put. They make one more small move. And Gallo on Golden State off the bench would be money with some of the young guards they have. The Pacers trade Domantas Sabonis to the Golden State Warriors for 2022 and 2024 first-round picks, Moses Moody and James Wiseman. I like this trade a lot for Indiana. They get two young assets back, including another big. 2 first-rounders. I like that for them a lot. The Rockets try to trade John Wall, but can't find a trade partner. I mean, there's the Clippers and the Lakers and the Knicks that are candidates, but I don't think either of those teams would do it. And the Celtics. The Clippers trades Luke Kennard to the Jazz for Joe Ingles and a 2022 first-round pick. Ingles is injured right now, but they get him for next year, and they get a pick too. The Lakers get Mo Harkless via buyout. The Kings will buy him out. Lakers will get him. The Memphis Grizzlies and the Miami Heat both stay put. Milwaukee gets Jeff Green via a buyout. The Minnesota Timberwolves acquire Alec Burks from the New York Knicks for 2023 second. I just think the Knicks want to clear the way for some young players. The Minnesota Timberwolves, we just did. New Orleans Pelicans, you hear loud Brandon Ingram rumors, but he stays put. The New York Knicks acquire Jalen Brunson from the Dallas Mavericks for that Mavericks pick that they got back for Kristaps Porzingis and Kemba Walker. Knicks needed a point guard, and I really like Jalen Brunson for them. They get his bird rights. He's young, and I think he would be very good at MSG. The Orlando Magic trade Terrence Ross to the Lakers for Avery Bradley, Trevor Ariza, and a 2025 second-rounder. So Ross goes to the Lakers and becomes perhaps a starter for them. And then Bradley and Ariza are just buyout guys. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Phoenix Suns stay put. The Portland Trailblazers trade Robert Covington to the Washington Wizards for a 2022 first-round pick and Denny Avdija. I like that deal for the Wiz. Getting Covington to go with Bradley Beal just to give it one last kick at a can. 22 first. Let's make it a lottery-protected pick. Or top 12 protected pick. Top 10 protected. Or top 12, whatever would work in theory. Top 12. So, they could try to advance in the playing game or whatever. And I like it a lot for Portland. They got a first for Covington. And another young, promising player. The Sacramento Kings. You'll hear some loud Buddy Hield rumors, but none of them comes to fruition. The San Antonio Spurs trades Derek White to the Milwaukee Bucks for a 2022 first. I like the fit of Derek White on the Bucks. He can start for them, come off the bench. The Toronto Raptors acquired Terrence Davis from the Sacramento Kings for a 2023 second. They need bench help, the Raptors, and I like the pick. The Utah Jazz acquired Gary Harris from the Orlando Magic for 2022 and 2024 second-round picks. I like that deal a lot. Gary Harris, I think, would tremendously help Utah. And the Washington Wizards, stands heavy rumors about Bradley Beal. He ultimately stays in D.C., at least until the summertime. Alrighty. Last but not least, my best bet of the day. Brought to you by FanDuel. I think yesterday's lost, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it did. Stony Brook was the pick. So 0-2 so far in the calendar year. I'm going to college basketball for my pick. I'm taking the 7 UCLA against Arizona. I think Arizona will win, but I just think that line's high, and I think it should be much lower. And I also think that UCLA is super duper talented too. So 1 unit on UCLA, getting 7 at Arizona is my best bet of the day. All right, so there you have it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything from today and looking ahead to tomorrow and the rest of the weekend slate. And obviously news and notes and best bet for you as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.